Hello everyone, welcome to Winning with Blogging. I'm Carol Bernadette Boskert of the Blueprint Practice, and I'm really delighted that you're here listening to this recording about blogging. So let me just share with you a few issues. First, did you know that people who consistently blog receive 97% more links to their website? Now, Google likes links and it increases your SEO and it drives more people to your website. And providing you've got an email capture strategy in place, you'll be able to convert a lot of those people who are landing on your site into leads and then potential clients. People who prioritize blogging are 13 times more likely to enjoy a positive return on investment. And what that means is more engagement with your followers, more people signing up to your email list. But here's the scary thing. Research has indicated that by 2020, customers will manage 85% of their relationships without talking to a human. That's a little bit scary, isn't it? So the great thing is although 2020 is a few years off, it will soon come around very quickly. And what you want to be able to do is really to be able to start blogging and growing your email list so that you can have a lot of engagement and people can get to know, like, and trust you. And the other great thing about blogging is your blogging works while you're asleep. While we're all getting that much needed rest, you're not paying for advertising space, you're not running a pay-per-click campaign, yet people can still come onto your website, they can still read your blogs, they can still sign up for your email list, and they can even buy your services and products. So it really does a great job while you're asleep. Now, going to have a look at our journey today. So I thought I would start off by telling you a little bit about me. Then we're going to have a look at why blog. And then we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of our presentation today, which is about how to structure a blog post. And then I'm going to tell you about an online program I'm running called Winning with Blogging. And, I've been running my blogging courses now for about 2 years, and I've decided to take it online. So I'm really, really excited about this. And then we're going to have a look at how to become a great writer and how to grow your following. So I do hope you'll be able to stay for the duration of the presentation. So a little bit about me. And just before we start, I'm going to take a sip of my honey and lemon tea. I've been suffering with a chest infection, so I don't want to start coughing. So I've got 20 plus years marketing experience, and I've mainly worked for service organizations. So I've been running the Blueprint Practice for 4 years, and before that I worked for the largest actuarial consultancy in the world, where I headed up marketing across Europe for the financial management arm of the business. And before that, I worked for a company that pioneered executive coaching in the UK. And I was really lucky. I worked with some of the best coaches in the world who were coaching the most amazing companies and people. So my background has always been around, how do you get to promote somebody, to make them more visible in their market? And whether that's a person, whether that is a brand, whether it's a product, a service, or a company, it's sort of like, how do you stand head and shoulders above your competition? And that always starts with a really good strategy. Of course, it's got to work with the business as well. I mean, when you're working in a big, conglomerate, you have lots of different strategies. When you're a solopreneur like I am now, you've got to just make sure that it's really working with your business plan. And once you get a really strong strategy, it's then about deciding what are the right tools to use in order to help promote yourself and to really sort of like stand out in a crowded market. Just taking another sip of my drink there. And in the past, what I've done is, I've used, anything from advertising, research, surveys, events, huge events that I've done all over Europe, social media websites. You choose the right tools to help you stand out in a crowded market. And I came into blogging about 10 years ago. And one of the jobs that I've always had to do in my corporate life, and also while I've worked for myself, is I've always headed up PR within the organisation that I worked for. And PR is so important in growing that brand. And when I came across blogging, I thought this is absolutely fantastic for, one-man band, small business owners, because blogging gives you a platform to demonstrate your expertise. But I knew that you had to know how to blog properly, because if you didn't know how to blog properly, you would lose your readers. And then actually that wasn't going to convert into clients, and it wasn't going to help raise your profile in your market or claim your expert status. So why people blog? Well, there are a number of reasons why people blog, and I'm just going to go through a few of them here today. Sometimes people blog because they want to be seen as a thought leader. And you see this happen a lot in big corporations. Now, it does also happen with small businesses. One of my clients, we're just looking at building their brand at the moment. So it definitely establishes you as a thought leader in your business. And, especially in the corporate world where perhaps, you're not so much looking to generate leads, but you are looking to get invited to speaking at conferences and perhaps all over the world. And you want your market to see you as an expert, as a thought leader, or even as a guru in your field. The other reason why people blog is because they use it as a diary. They use it as a way to get everything that's going on inside of them out. And you see teenagers do this very successfully. And a lot of them will use a platform called Blogger, where, everything's all set up for them and they just go in and they start writing. And you see these fantastic teenagers giving other teenagers great advice, on how just to cope with life. So, sometimes they use it for those great purposes of helping one another. Other times people use a blog because they've got a purpose in mind. And I don't know if you've seen that film, Julia and Julie. It's based on this woman who worked for a gardening magazine, and she really wanted to be a food writer. So she decided that she would create a blog and she would cook every single recipe of Julia Childs. Now, Julia Childs is a very famous, cookery expert, probably a little bit like how we would see Fanny Craddock in the UK, somebody that was around for years and very, very well respected. And she wrote a blog about it, and she cooked every single recipe, and she talked about how fantastic the food was, what the problems were, what she was scared about. And the whole idea for her was she'd get a few followers, and then she would go to those writing magazines and say, look, I've got my own blog, it's about food, and I've got all these followers, please employ me as a food writer. But her blog became so successful that actually it turned into a book, and then Hollywood came calling, and they turned it into, a Hollywood production, and Meryl Streep played Julia Childs, who was the person whose recipes Julie was cooking. So sometimes there's very much a themed purpose. You're creating a blog because you want to go from A to F, and you know exactly where you want to go. The other reason why people blog is because they want to stay connected to family and friends. This is great if you're perhaps living over the other side of the world, or you've decided maybe to take a year out and go around traveling. It's a great way for people to keep in contact with you. The other reason why people blog is they use it for testing. So you see this a lot in the corporate world. They will want to come out with a new product, and they'll decide that they'll write a blog, around the issues around the product, and just see what the feedback is, see what the engagement is. And they might run that over a, 2, 3, even 6-month period. And finally, which is what I do a lot with my clients, is it's all around generating leads. So how can you generate some really good quality leads from your blog that you can then turn into paying clients? I'm just going to take a sip of my hot water and lemon just to keep my throat lubricated so I don't start coughing. So let's just move on to the next slide. We're just going to look in a little bit more in depth about why we blog. Well, as I mentioned before, it's around building your expert status and positioning you in the eyes of your followers. And what we all need to remember is, we've all got followers, people who we actually don't know, but they're following us on social media, they're visiting our website, they're reading our blogs. And out of that group of followers, a group will have formed that will become loyal, and they are the people that will share all your posts on social media. They are the people that will leave the odd comment on your blog. And out of that group of loyal followers will become raving fans. Now, your raving fans become your unpaid sales force. They are the people that will recommend you. They are the people that will definitely become your clients, if not immediately, at some point. They are the people that will think that you are just so fantastic at what you do. They have to tell everyone. In a way, it's like a brand ambassador, and they really represent you and your business really well. And actually, you're not paying them any money for it. And as business owners, whether we're a small business owner, whether we're an entrepreneur, whether we're just starting out, we all want to get a group of raving fans, because this is the group that's going to help build our business. And every time we go back to sell something new, we're not starting again from scratch. We've got a group of people who are eagerly waiting for us to develop a new service, develop a new product, run a new event so that they can buy it and be part of your community. So why blog? Well, here's a traditional sales funnel, and it's all about generating leads. They get into your funnel, they start connecting with your brand. It's an opportunity for you to demonstrate your personality and also your knowledge, and they get to know, like, and trust you. And, it's in a very traditional way. You release information to them and they go down the funnel, and eventually out will come a lead, and that lead will turn into a client. But today we've got something new, which is called the cloud funnel. Now, this is the amazing thing about the cloud funnel, is that 60% of all purchase decisions are made before the customer enters your funnel. And the reason for that is because they are spending a lot of time in the cloud funnel. They're reading blogs, they're going and interacting in forums, they're part of groups on Facebook, they're reading online reviews, they're on Instagram, they're looking at your website, and actually they come to you very well educated. They know what they want. They've just got to decide whether you're the right person to buy from. And it's in this cloud area where your potential clients are going to hear about you first, for better or worse. So it's really important that you control the messages in the cloud funnel so that you know what is being said about you. And of course, blogging forms a part of that. Blogging also creates brand awareness, and it turns awareness into brand preference, and that brand preference is you. And also it drives a ton of traffic to your website. So how to structure your blog post? So there are 3 key elements to structuring your blog post: the introduction, the body of your blog, and the sign-off. Now, we're not going to be able to go into every single detail here today. This is covered in my course, but we're going to go into quite a bit. So this is what happens when somebody comes across your website, or across your blog, sorry. What they start to do is they start to skim your blog because they want to decide whether or not they want to invest their time in reading your blog. And here are the elements to the introduction of your blog. There's your headline. There's the opening lines. There's creating a desire in your reader to want to read more. So we're going to look at the headline. Now, as I said, what happens is somebody comes across a great headline, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, and they think, oh, I'm really interested in this. And what you want them to do is you want them to stop, because you don't want them to carry on skimming. So how you structure that blog post is really important, and the introduction area is one of the most important areas. So how do you get the right title? Well, what happens a lot of the time is that we are experts in our field. And when we sit down to write a blog, often we can go too broad. We write a blog that's really broad. And actually, we don't get into the detail of anything because we're writing at such a high level. And your client who comes to your blog, your potential client, they're looking to have a problem that they've got solved. So the more specific you are, the better result your blog will get. The more engagement you will get, the more added value you'll be giving to your reader, and the more likely it is that they will come back and want to read more. They will leave a comment. They will sign up to your email list. So the very first thing you need to do is you need to create a working title. And working titles have to be specific. So if we use this example here, let's say you're an executive coach, a business coach, and what you want to do is write about being confident at work. Well, confidence is a huge subject, and being more confident at work or being confident in the workplace is also a huge subject. So what you've got to do is you've got to get really specific. So how to confidently ask for a pay rise in your next review is a specific working title. And the reason why this helps you is because you're not going to start writing about how to be confident when you have to present to the board, or how to be confident and challenge the management team when you're in a meeting. This is specifically looking at how more confident you can be in asking for a pay rise. Now, of course, somebody who is very confident at asking for a pay rise, this is not the right blog for them. They're not going to read it. And actually what you want are the people who don't feel confident about asking for a pay rise, because it's those people that you're trying to help, and they are the people who might become your clients. So when you get that working title, what you then need to do is to organize your content. So you brainstorm, you create a mind map, or you write a list, however you would like to do it, about how you can write that blog about confidently asking for a pay rise in your next review. What are the elements that you're going to put into that? Now, if we were to take that one step further, you might say, well, okay, the fact is that in the work environment, you can have your line managers can be introverts, they can be extroverts, and they can be ambiverts. And as a business coach, you might say you have a slightly different approach to an introvert line manager than to an extrovert line manager. So rather than write one blog about asking for a pay rise, you write 3 blogs, one aimed at the introvert line who's got an introvert line manager, one aimed at the extrovert, and one aimed at the ambiverts. Now, some of that information is going to stay the same, but some of it you're going to change. And then what you've got is a campaign of 3 blog posts. Now, of course, writing 3 blog posts does take longer than writing 1 blog post. But when you pull it into a campaign like we have in this case, writing those 3 blog posts becomes so much quicker than writing 2 separate blog posts. Because there's, as I said before, there's going to be certain information that you can transfer from one blog post to another. Now let's have a look at the structure of the body of your blog. So the body of your blog forms 70% of your post. Now, this might surprise some of you, especially if you're new to blogging. But research has indicated that really good blogs start around the 1,000-word mark. So you might think to yourself, there's no way I could write 1,000 words. And when you're starting off, if your first blog is 400 words, that's absolutely okay. Because it's your first blog and it's better to write something than nothing. But what you want to do is you want to keep progressing. So the next blog you might be 450 words and the following blog 500 words and as you build it up. And in no time at all, you will be writing a blog of about 1,000 words. And the reason for this is that, one, Google likes it because there's more information. It is deemed to have more value. Research has indicated that blogs that are over 1,000 words are kept and shared more than blogs that are under 1,000 words. And people do favorite them and bookmark them and go back and review them. So if you have a 1,000-word blog, you would dedicate 700 words to the body of the blog. That's the bit that you're going to give your expertise in, the solution to the problem you're writing about. So in this case, it might be the steps you would recommend somebody to take for confidently asking for a pay rise in their next review. And you would probably allocate 150 to 200 words for both the intro and the close. So blogs can go from anything from sort of like 800, 1,000 words up to 3,000, 3,500 words. So don't worry if your blog is really long. Just remember that longer blogs are deemed more valuable and have more journalistic content. Now, of course, there will always be exceptions to the rule. And somebody like Seth Godin, who is a marketing guru, writes the shortest of blogs. But he's incredibly well known and he has so many people coming to his website, leaving comments, sharing. He's the sort of like the outlier. He's the person where, the rule is broken. But for the majority of us, that's where we need to aim to, the 1,000-word mark. Now, when you actually write the body of your blog, make sure that you don't overwhelm your reader. You see, your reader is probably reading your blog on their mobile. And if you don't, space it out, all they're going to see is a wall of text. And they'll start reading and suddenly their brain will get fried. They'll go into overwhelm and they'll just bounce off. It is really, really important that you use subheadings, bullet points. You can add pictures in. You can do those shareable tweets. It's really important that you break up your text, because that's how your reader their brain won't get so fried when they're reading it on their mobile, and it will be a much more pleasant experience for them. And finally, we come to the close. So there are 3 elements to the close. The closing paragraph, tell them what you want them to do, and signing up to your list. And we're going to have a look at telling them what you want them to do. So as you can see, we've got people jumping off a cliff edge here into the sea. So what you don't want to do when you finish writing your blog post is to stop dead. Because that's it. You've stopped dead. Your reader doesn't know where to go. So always end up with, a summary paragraph. Just quickly summarizing your blog or leaving them with one lasting thought. And then you want to tell your reader what to do. So it could be leave a comment, or it could be share on social media. So in our example, you might say something like, if you've ever been nervous about asking for a pay rise, we would love to hear, what your experience was like. Please leave a comment in the box below. You actually give very clear instructions to your reader what you want them to do. And then you can go on to say, if you enjoyed this post, please share the inspiration with your contacts and your friends on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. Name the social media places you want them to share it on. Because, like if you're trying to build a Twitter following, you might not really care about them sharing it on Facebook and LinkedIn. You just want them to share it on Twitter. So say, please share this on Twitter. And that will really help you, because you're telling the reader what to do, and then they can take action because it's clear to them what you're asking for. Right. Just wanted to take another sip of my hot lemon and honey. So I'm just going to tell you now a little bit about my online course, Winning with Blogging, Creating Contagious Content. We kick off on Wednesday, the 2nd of September. And we have a number of modules, and they are released into the cloud every Wednesday. And you'll be given a link and a password for you to get into the cloud to access them. And you'll be able to play the videos in the cloud and listen to it, and all the information and worksheets will all be there. And then there'll be a follow-up call the following Tuesday. And the reason for this is I wanted to make sure that I gave you time to listen to the modules, take on board the way to move forward, and to make sure that you had time to digest all that information. And then if you had any questions, you can always bring them to the live call, or you can email them to me in advance of the live call, and I will always make sure that you get a detailed response on the call. All the calls will be recorded. Let me just go back to that one. All the calls will be recorded, so you can listen at your leisure. It's playing up a little bit now. And as I said, you can send your questions in advance, so that if you can't make the call, your question will still get answered. And if we have time on the call, I will also take questions on the call as well. You will get lifetime access to the program, so you can come back and take it again and again and again. So we start off on Wednesday, the 2nd of September with our Kickstarter module. So we'll go into more detail about structuring your blog posts, and there'll be examples so that you can see what good looks like. We'll also be sharing with you a blogging audit, so that you can make sure that you have got the necessary go-to resources, so that you can really, kickstart your blogging work from the word go. And also what I'm introducing is, for the first time, the Huffington Post Challenge. Now, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. This is going to be like an additional piece of work that I will be doing with people who are up to the Huffington Post Challenge. And the aim of it is to get members writing for Huffington Post. Now, there are no guarantees that you will end up writing for them. But I have worked with previous clients, and they are really delighted with the results that they've got and how it's enabled them to write for Huffington Post. And we've got a little testimonial here. So it's from Dr. Angela Smith, who is a forensic psychologist, and she deals a lot with resilience and also the corporate psychopath. So here is the magic of Carol. I uploaded my post to Huffington and they placed me as a feature blogger. This really is down to Carol's teaching and, of course, my staying power. Each blog I write gets just that bit easier and less stressful. I find when I eat cake and write, it inspires me. So the story behind that was Angela took herself to her local cafe and treated herself to a lovely piece of cake while she was writing this particular blog post. Then we're going to be looking at blogging styles, and that is on September the 9th. So in this module, you'll learn about the 10 different styles that you can apply to your blogging, to your blog posts, so that they have depth and colour, and your reader will be eager to engage every week. Because if you think about it, if you just think about your favourite food, if you were to have that dish for lunch and dinner every single day for the next 365 days, you would get bored of it. You would get to the point where you would just think, do you know what, I just can't eat that anymore. And that's the same. If you keep blogging in the same style, your readers will eventually it will just become a bit bland. Even though it might be really fantastic, it will be the same thing over and over again. So it's really important that you learn how to have different style posts so that it adds color, it adds depth, there's energy going on, and it really helps your reader to stay connected. And of course, once this module is released, we'll have the follow-up call on the Tuesday. And also what you'll be able to do is you might say, okay, well, look, I've written a blog in this style. I'd like to get some feedback. So again, if you send me your blog before end of play Sunday, I will be able to review it and you will get a detailed response. If I've got time on the call there and you bring your blog to the call, then I'll be able to do it quickly. But if I get those blogs in end of play Sunday, then that will enable me to spend time to really give you a detailed response. After that, I can't guarantee that I will get to it. And of course, in every call, we will set time aside to review the Huffington Post Challenge. Oh, and here's Carol Stewart. Carol Stewart has done my blogging course, and she's also been part of my VIP program. And she also writes for Huffington Post. And what happened was Carol sent me her blog, and I reviewed it for her, and I made some suggested tweaks. And it was a blog that she was going to put up on to LinkedIn. So she put her blog up on to LinkedIn on the Monday. And I think when she looked at it the following day, it had been read 2,873 times. I mean, that is just amazing. And she had 470 LinkedIn shares. She had 267 LinkedIn likes. And that was just after putting her blog up, overnight. So she really uses blogging to help promote her business because she's had such, positive engagement and feedback. And of course, there is a process in order to do this to make sure that it works. And to date, this particular blog post that Carol has written has received over 16,000 reads. Then on Wednesday the 16th, we look at guest blogging. Now, nothing drives a ton of traffic to your website like guest blogging. So we're going to look at how can you find your guest blogs, how to analyze your intended guest blog, how to approach the owner, and we'll give you templates as well. And again, we will review the Huffington Post challenge. But for some of you, you may not want to write for Huffington Post. You may want to write somewhere else. And we'll also give you some tips as what are the other good good blogs to write for. And again, just like the previous weeks, you just send in your questions and posts to be reviewed. And as long as I get them before Sunday evening, I will review them. And the earlier you send them in to me, the better. But what I do for each module is when I review a blog, I review the blog in relation to the module that I'm covering. And then we look at headlines. And yes, that's deciding to do its own thing as well. So headlines, did you know that 80% of your blogs and emails are read because of your headline? So we're going to look at specific groups of headlines, why some headlines work better than others. We're going to look at how you want to attract certain clients, what headline you should use. And again, you'll be able to come to the call with your examples, but you'll also be able to send them in advance, and all the calls will be recorded. And of course, we'll be reviewing the Huffington Post challenge. And then finally, we come down to our final module, which is the strategy module. And we're going to look at your content strategy, your client avatar and customer journey, your tonality, and then I will tell you about your access to the Let's Get Blogging Facebook group. So the great thing with this, and the reason why I put the strategy at the end, is because you would have worked on your blogging. You'll be getting clearer and clearer as you go through this course, and then writing the strategy at the end will actually give you a better opportunity to write a strategy that's really going to work for you, because you would have already started to work on some of your blogs and you'll be getting a lot clearer in your thinking as well. Let's Get Blogging Facebook. Once you've gone through the module, it's graduation, and that's when you get access to the Let's Get Blogging group. So this has always been for my VIP clients, but I'm opening it up to my online program clients as well. So you have to go through the course first, and then you get access into the group. It is an amazing group of bloggers who just really want to help each other out. They will read your blog posts, they will leave comments on it, they will share it on social media. So one of our lovely clients writes amazing posts, and she was getting 2 comments if she was lucky. And you could tell that she was putting in a lot of work and effort into the posts. They were long. And as soon as she joined the group, immediately she got 12 comments, which was fantastic because she'd interviewed somebody. So not only were all those people adding comments, which was fresh information, which Google likes, it helps to go up the rankings, but also because it was an interview, the person she interviewed could come in and see all this great contribution that other people were making as well and talking about the blog post. So the group is really, really good. Nobody is made to do anything, but it is all reciprocal. So if somebody reads somebody's blog and leaves a comment, we ask that you read that person's blog back and leave a comment as well. So what does the cost? So it's a 4-week intensive course with a Kickstarter module. It officially starts on the 2nd of September. The pre-launch fee is £447 and the full fee is £547. But I've got a special price, which is a one-time only, and it's because this is the first time that I'm taking it online. So I'm selling it to £197, selling it for £197. And as I said, you will have lifetime access. You can take the course again and again. And also, because this is the first time that I'm running it, I'm actually giving a lot of my personal time, which you won't get in future courses. You know, unless you're part of my VIP group, you won't get this information. So if you feel that this is the right course, or you just want to have a look more about the detail, if you go to www.blueprintpractice.com/winning with blogging. If you just type that into your browser, you will go to my sales page. You will see all the information about the course, and there's the PayPal button for you to sign up and pay for the course. And it would be lovely to have you on there. So let's go on to the next part. So how to become a great writer. So one of my hobbies in the corporate world was writing, and I used to write children's books. I never got published, but I'd enter competitions, and I used to get quite far in the competitions, which, you know, made me feel really, really good. But the difference between a great writer and a not so good writer is the great writer writes every day. And this is something that you're taught when you're learning your craft, when you're writing, books or fiction. You know, it's your writing is you need to strengthen your writing muscle. So if you write for a maximum of 30 minutes a day, I guarantee you that you will have drafted 4 blogs by the end of the week. People who are in my VIP group who have taken this approach, it's incredibly simple, cannot believe how much they get through. They cannot believe that at the end of 4 weeks, they've got 20 blogs in draft format, and a good draft format. I always recommend it's the first thing you do in the morning. So whether you get up an extra 30 minutes or and do the writing, or whether it's you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to get up, and before I do anything else, I'm going to do this. This is what I recommend everyone does. And that is the difference, because it's the difference between potential and performance. What you do when you get up every day and you write is you're performing. You may be a great writer, but if you're not doing it, nobody is going to be able to read your stuff, and it's not going to help you grow your business, and it's not going to help generate leads and get people to sign up to your email address. So writing for 30 minutes is a surefire, guaranteed way of becoming a great writer. Just take another sip of my drink. Now, this is how you grow your following. First of all, what you need to do is you need to be consistent. So you need to blog on a regular basis. You know, and I do a lot of guest blogging. So I'm blogging in all different places, but I'm doing that on a regular basis. Ideally, you should think about blogging once a week. Now, for some people at this stage, that just seems like too much. And if that's the case, that's okay. You know, don't blog once a week. Blog once every 2 weeks, or maybe once a month. The more you blog, the more people will come to your website and will start signing up for your email list. And again, as I said before, if you apply that 30-minute rule, you'll be amazed at how many blogs in a week you'll be able to write. Make sure as well it's really easy for everyone to sign up to your mailing list. Have an opt-in on every page of your website. And often people still need reminding to sign up. So install a pop-up box. Add in a plugin that will automatically create a pop-up box so that when somebody lands on your website, they'll be asked to sign up for your email. And you can ask your website designer to do this, and it's very, very simple. Make sure you share your blog post on social media. For Twitter, you can put it on more than once. You can pull sound bites out of your blog as long as it's 140 characters. It doesn't always have to be the title. And you can repost it many, many times. LinkedIn, you can share with your followers, but also your groups. And if you've created a company site, you can put it through your company LinkedIn section as well. Make sure you share it on Facebook, both on your private page and your business page. And don't forget about Pinterest. It's a fantastic social media tool, and people just think it's for people who are designers or people who create food or, stylists. There are many good service and product companies who use Pinterest. It's a visual way, but the fact is you can put up a visual related to your blog post and then you put a link with it, which sends the viewer back to your site. So that's it. We've come to the end of our blogging, Winning with Blogging presentation. I'm so pleased I didn't start coughing like a maniac. As I said, it's a 4-week intensive course with a Kickstart module. We officially start on September the 2nd. I would love you to be part of this. If for any reason you have any questions or you're not 100% sure about something, please email me at carol@blueprintpractice.com. And if you would like to sign up, which I really hope you do, please go to www.blueprintpractice.com/winning with blogging. Thank you very much for listening.